Hey, how's it going? It's your boy, Challenger Coach Moriarty here to bring you a new video series where we look at every single champion in the game and go over how to beat them in a brief and to the point manner. And starting off, we're gonna go with AD carries. First up, we have Aphelios. Wait, really? Am I gonna have to start with this abomination? Anyways, alright, he doesn't have a real playstyle, as what he does is based off of his 5 guns. You got the sniper rifle for long range poke, you got the pistol for vamp and dueling, you got the chakram for single target DPS, the flamethrower for AoE, and the gravity gun for slows and roots. In lane, he will mostly look to poke you down with sniper Qs, so stay in the minion wave to avoid this. Do the opposite once he gets his flamethrower, as he can easily chip you down from the AoE if you stay in the minion wave. Some kill combos you'll need to watch out for are when he's got his sniper and chakram out. With his sentry, he can consistently proc long range autos followed up by Q auto into R auto combo and kill you from pretty much half a screen away. In terms of openings, he is pretty squishy and he has the lowest base MR out of any AD carry and lacks mobility, so you can look to all in him when he doesn't have his pistol out because he's pretty overpowered at dueling when he has it. Now, we got a more reasonable champion, Tryndamere's wife IRL, and in game we've got Ashe. She's more of a utility AD carry and focuses on using poke from her volley along with her slows to chase you down and net kills. Volley is a 14-second CD at rank 1, so as long as you hide in the minion wave to dodge it, it's a pretty long CD. After it's down, you can just trade back onto her and dip out before her Q is charged, as the DPS it provides is really strong and getting away at this point due to her slows is really hard. Now, some Ashe players will try and be clever by using volley on already low minions, as the extra arrows will actually just pass through to poke you. It's not that clever, just pay attention and stop standing in front of low HP minions. The only other trick she really has is arrow, and it's her most powerful tool, so keep track of its CD at rank 1, which is 100 seconds, because her kill potential is really strong with it. Ashe players will often try and hit you from fog at an angle to get picks even from base to other lanes, or to start a team fight mid-game. You can either have the map awareness to dodge it, or you can buy tenacity, QSS, or take cleanse if you're kinda lazy. The champion every ADC thinks they are good at because they auto win the laning phase when they pick her, it's Caitlyn. She relies on poking you with extremely long auto attack range, which is 650, along with landing traps so that she can burst you down with crits. Her favorite kill combo is to use net as you approach her, then Q mid net into autos followed by using her ultimate. To be honest, this combo never actually works as long as you dodge her initial net on the way in, and all you really gotta do is sidestep it and nothing else is gonna land, and she will do absolutely no damage in a duel. Knowing this, Caitlyn players will try and place traps near your tower or in brushes, or layer it on top of other CC so that they can guarantee her net landing, and then the rest of the combo is pretty much free after that. This means that as long as you pay really close attention to where traps are set and you sidestep the net as you engage on Caitlyn, she does once again pretty much nothing. Quickly though, I got some other tips versus her. You're gonna want to avoid fighting her in a brush as she charges her headshots faster. If you're standing behind minions, her Q will do less damage to you, and her net can be cancelled by pretty much any knockup, and if you're actually able to do this, then the Caitlyn players are gonna get really mad, probably tilt, and then flame how bad net is. We got the most popular AD carry in the game, and the least popular to end up on your team, it's Ezreal. The way this champion functions is pretty simple. If he lands his skill shots, he does damage. If he doesn't land them, then he does no damage. This is because landing skill shots gives him a lot of attack speed and reduced CDs. Ezreal's gonna try and poke you while you go for CS with his Q, so you're gonna wanna hide in the minion wave. But remember, if you do this, he's gonna try and land W on you, so you gotta stay out of his W auto range. If he just lands W on you, it's no big deal. Sometimes Ezreal players will go for a pretty aggro trade, which is WE into auto attack, as the E will automatically proc and auto target the person that's been hit by W. The reason it's an aggressive trade though is because ECD early on at rank 1 is 25 seconds, meaning you have a pretty big window to turn back onto him. One of his main kill combos is actually just waiting in a brush so that he can lead with his ultimate and then WEQ auto attack combo. So pay attention to face checking brushes when he gets his 2 item spike, as it can 1 rotation you, and it's his strongest power spike in the game, so he's definitely looking for that solo kill. And lastly, Ezreal players will also try and ult mid fight and then reposition with flash to style on you. Please do not fall for this and be ready to flash yourself. It's really embarrassing if you ever die to this play, so keep this in mind. Might seem weird to see this little guy in the bot lane, but it's his most popular role now, so I'm including him, and that's Heimerdinger. Playstyle wise, he just looks to shove you in with his turrets and then perma push you. It's really boring to play against. Almost all of his burst damage comes from landing his abilities on you while in turret ranges. That's what procs his laser beams, which is the true source of his damage. This means you'll need to ideally hide in the minion wave versus his W and step outside of it to dodge his E while also staying out of his turret range, and if this sounds like a lot, then yeah, you're probably right. It's really annoying to have to lane against this guy. If you can manage to kill his turrets though, because your auto attack range is bigger, then you want to do this immediately because it takes away almost all of his power. When in a panic, Heimerdinger players will often put down his ultimate turret, which lasts 8 seconds, and you do not want to fight this thing. I report abort mission. If he uses his ult turret, do not fight it. Lastly, the only trick he has is camping a random brush with 3 turrets. This will happen at least once a game, as every Heimerdinger players think there's some big brain player with 2 million IQ, and if you don't see him on the map and he's pretty strong and he hasn't tried this yet, be careful because he will. My favorite AD carry, Jhin, is someone who is very pick oriented and has a built-in killsteal tool. Due to his ammo system, he will try and poke you down with his force shot for extra value, but you can abuse this by taking a fight with 1 or 2 ammo left, knowing he's gonna have to reload mid-fight. Most Jhin players are aware of this though, and so they will approach a fight looking to poke you by bouncing Qs off of minions and then hitting you with the W to root you, so just stand outside the minion wave when you think he's gonna try and poke or shove. Similar to Caitlyn, you do need to be careful about failing all-ins versus him, as he can use his ult to kill you from out of range if you don't get the kill. Either be very sure you have lethal, or you're gonna have to put on your dancing shoes, otherwise you're gonna die. The most likely AD carry to get a pentakill, Jinx, is a hyper carry with good utility and range to help snowball. In lane, she will look to get some poke damage with her AoE off of minions, so what you're gonna want to do is stay away from the caster line so you don't get hit by that. One of her main kill combos will be landing her zap and then placing her E on you so that she can just DPS you down while you're CC'd. To avoid this, I don't know, be good and dodge zap, or avoid standing near walls so that you can walk past her trap. Now, if you do manage to escape on low HP versus her, please, if you remember anything from this video about her, remember that she will try and snipe you across the map with her global ultimate. It doesn't matter if you're an AD carry or you're a top laner, she's gonna try it, and do not die to this. In fights, she's gonna stay in the backline till she gets a reset from her passive, but she can easily be all-in as her traps have a 0.7 second arm time, making them very hard to place to actually protect her, so just look to flank her during a fight. We got Vayne 2.0 highlight reel master. Kai'Sa is one of the few assassin marksmen in the game. She relies heavily on proccing her passive for DPS, so short trades versus her are really good, but remember, she will try and land her W on you as you leave her auto attack range, and it's incredibly important to dodge it so that her passive doesn't stack up. Outside of that, she will consistently look for duels, and honestly, without her Q evolve or her E evolve, she isn't super amazing at it yet, so feel free to fight her before that point. When fighting or trading versus Kai'Sa though, she will be looking to hit isolated Qs on you, so either fight her in a minion wave next to a big minion called your support, or step away as the burst damage it gives is far too high. Do not fight her with isolated Q damage. But since Kai'Sa players know this, they will oftentimes look to hit you with W from Fog of War while you are farming or rotating through the river so that she can gun you down in the river like the degenerate you are for letting you actually hit her with that skill shot. If she is stronger than you, then you need to avoid getting hit by these long range Ws, or she's gonna ult to you and win the 1v1 pretty easily. Thought I'd take this time to remind you that Kalista is actually in League of Legends, and she's not just a Legends of Runeterra card. She heavily relies on abusing her mobility from her passives to keep up with you to apply her stacks of Ren so that she can then execute you and kill you with it. For whatever reason, her ability to hop becomes way worse when she gets slowed or when her attack speed goes down, so items like Randuin's are a hard counter to her, not that she needed any more reasons to suck. One of the main kill approaches she has though is autoing a low HP minion and then hitting you with Q so that she can Ren for the slow but still get the reset from killing a minion with it. If you see her trying to prep this combo on a low HP minion, it's very similar to when you're playing against an Aurelia. You're going to want to back off from the minion wave until that minion actually dies if you aren't currently stronger than her. She does have another small trick, it's kind of dumb, where she stacks up Rend on a Canyon minion or Scuttle and then Qs through it to kill it, and that'll actually transfer the stacks of Rend until the new person that's hit. So it's really silly, and please never get hit by this, it's very obvious to see. The last thing you'll need to pay attention to though is without her support, she is pretty useless, so feel free to try and kill her, but be careful as she sometimes will bait this opening and then ult her support in from Fog of War for a counterattack. This isn't super common though, since it will require her support to actually know what Kalista does. This champion will almost never see play without a Lulu duo Q, and it's Kog'Maw, late game hyper carry champion with the most useless passive an AD carry could have. Only one thing to worry about with this champion, and that's his W. If he has it up, he's a real champion. It's got a 17-second CD and it lasts 8 seconds. You're gonna want to avoid fighting him while it's active, but personally, I just walk up and pretend to trade so that he uses it, and then I back off until there's only 1 or 2 seconds left, and then I fight him again. He's got no real kill combos. He'll just stand still and auto attack you and then try and snipe you with his ultimate, which got 1300 range, and then it also has a little bit of an execute, but the mana cost on it is so high, he's probably gonna and not be able to pull that off. If Kog'Maw is not paired with Lulu, Nami, or Janna, ignore the above and just collect your LP. Lucian, the stereotypical lane bully marksman. Every Lucian player will look to play very aggressive in lane, dashing forward to try and auto Q auto combo you for a big burst, or looking to poke you by landing Qs through the minion wave. You'll need to space properly to avoid this combo, with the key being not getting hit by the second round of auto attacks as it will proc press the attack. Also, his Q can be dashed or dodged with a lot of movement speed, so just keep that in mind. To avoid the Q though, just don't line up with the minion wave and him. One of his main kill combos in lane will be dashing forward on you, then hitting you with his W, followed by gunning you down with his ultimate. Due to the increased movement speed, he can easily hit most of it. This means if you're approximately 1k range away from Lucian and you are not stronger than him, then he can look to kill you with this combo, in which case you'll actually need to hug tower. Also, unlike most marksmen, until he's a lot higher leveled, he is terrible without mana, like really bad. So if you see him below 85 mana in the early game, just feel free to fight him. This is likely the easiest marksman to play, but definitely not the easiest to play against. Misfortune is just a pain right now. She looks to bully you with her Q poke off of a minion or getting one auto off to proc her passive, so she will often prep a caster minion to be really low, leave it low, and then once you step in front of it, she's going to try and bounce her Q off of it for that big crit. Just in general, you'll really need to pay attention to not lining up with her and the minion, so that way her Qs aren't going to poke you down, and she's a lot less threatening like that because her single target DPS is kind of low. Most of her kill combos will include using E to slow you, followed by using her ultimate. To avoid this, you'll need to stay away from walls so that you can actually dodge her ultimate to the side, but it's often used after someone's already hit you with CC, meaning you'll need to flash or dodge the initial CC, or you're probably just gonna die. As for your opening versus her, fighting her in a 1v1 outside of a minion wave in close combat is a really good idea because she won't be able to get her Q bonus damage, she won't be able to reset her passive, and she won't be able to get her ultimate off because you can just kind of run through her, so you should be able to beat her as her 1v1 DPS is really bad. Senna is a utility marksman who has a strong laning phase and infinite scaling for late game. If this combo sounds kinda dumb, that's because it is. Senna is quite dangerous to lane against, as if you stand in the minion wave to dodge her root, then she'll just poke you down with Q. And you're really going to want to avoid getting hit by Q auto attack combos. It will let her rip a soul out of you, giving her a lot of current damage and giving her a soul. Luckily, her Q does have a 15-second CD, which is quite long early on, so you can look to bait it out by standing in front of low HP minions and then dodging in or out. She won't be able to resist trying to hit you and those juicy minions at the same time. One thing to remember about her W though is that the root is AoE, so if it hits a minion, get away from it. Same thing with idiot teammates who try and run next to you. She's also got some pretty lame gimmicks that you should know about and remember. She will use her E to try and bring in the jungler with her sometimes for easy ganks. You're also not going to want to get baited by her Q heal. Remember, it actually heals for some reason. Her ultimate is a global snipe, so just like Jinx, she might try and kill you while recalling on low HP. Or if you're trying to duel someone across the map, it's going to shield her teammates. She can also use her Q on a ward, ally, or minion to try and snipe you out from angles you might not be expecting. So yeah, you gotta watch out for all that lovely utility. Your opening will come from when all her abilities are on CD because they actually have very long cooldowns. In the past, Sivir was nicknamed Pizza Feet or Nigel Thornberry and is a passive laner who looks to push lane and just scale. Sivir players will often look to use W on the minion wave to push and force you to stand outside the minion wave to avoid the ricochet so that they can then hit you with an isolated Q, which is her biggest source of damage. To avoid this, just remember not to go near walls and hide back in the minions after those 3 auto attacks from W have finished. To be honest though, her mana costs are just terrible. She can hardly sustain using Q too much in lane, so she will try and walk forward aggressively at you so that she can bait out her spell shield and get some mana back. My trick for when Sivir players do this is that you actually just aim a skill shot next to her and make her waste her spell shield, or you just hold your abilities and know that her mana problems are 100% going to be worse than yours. Tristana, the champion most likely to leap forward and die if we don't count Vayne Tumble. Extremely aggressive champion. Even though she's meant to scale in lane due to her E passive, she is going to auto put the laning phase, so just don't stand near low HP minions to avoid her poke. Tristana's 1v1 is really strong, and she will look to leap on you and apply a slow and then auto you with her E until it explodes so that her leap will reset, which pretty much means you die. If you try to fight back, she will ult you and then just execute you with it, or let the E explosion kill you as well. To avoid this, you'll need to be 900 range away to make sure you don't get slowed from the W so that you can just walk away before she actually procs her E to get the leap reset. Another trick you can do is you can look to hold heal or barrier to make the Tristana think she's going to kill her with her ult E explosion and then once you're safely away, you can just proc it, and then the Tristana looks like an idiot. One gimmick you'll need to be careful of though is how massive the E explosion radius is when it's on a tower. It's actually 500, it's very deceptively large. Lastly, the opening you are looking for is when her E is down, whether she used it on a tower, a minion, or you properly baited it out for a trade, it really doesn't matter. If she doesn't have her E up, she's not getting that E reset, she's not getting her burst, and she's pretty much a trash champion. Alright, so we got the rat Twitch next, who is a late game assassin marksman. He will primarily look to trade with you by either stealthing in or walking up with his W and then autoing you until max deadly venom stacked, which is 5, and then use Expunge. Honestly, there's not much more to him, that's most of the champion. Otherwise, he's just going to use his ultimate to extend a trade due to the increased range when you try and disengage. But, fun fact, the ultimate auto attacks can be dodged as they count as projectiles. Twitch is pretty linear like that in a sense, due to his small range without his ultimate and his reliance on expunge damage to do pretty much anything in the early game. As long as you pay attention to not get cheesed while farming alone, he's not going to snowball and he won't be a factor unless he's got a Lulu with him. You're just going to have to treat him like playing versus Evelynn or Rengar. If you don't get cheesed early on by the stealth, you're just going to win. Varus is not someone you see often in solo queue at the moment, but is an extremely strong laner. He's got a lot of poke damage from his E and Q and long auto attack range of 575. Luckily, both his Q and his E have 18-second CDs, and you take reduced damage from his Q by standing in the minion wave. Outside of that, Varus has a very deadly train combo, and he will be looking to auto you 3 times to get max stacks of his passive, and then proc it with E, and then auto you 3 times, and then Q you, and if you're low, he's gonna execute you with WQ. This combo can almost 100-0 someone, or at least heavily chunk you out, so to avoid it, you will need to either dodge the E or the Q so that the blight stacks don't proc. Preferably the Q though, as it's the majority of his damage and the ability he normally maxes first. But the more reliable way to beat a Varus is to engage onto him once he uses his Q to poke, as it has a very long cooldown and he can't fight back or use his execute, so he's pretty beatable at that point. I'd also mention some gimmicky stuff for like his ultimate provides passive stacks so that you should avoid it or something, but for whatever reason, no Varus player ever can land it, so it's pretty pointless. So you might be wondering what the key to beating Vayne is, and it's kind of just do nothing until they get bored and outplay themselves. I'm only half joking about that though, but Vayne players will actually just randomly tumble forward to try and get some poke off. All I need to do at this point is just stand in the caster line and then disengage after 1 or 2 auto attacks. You gotta avoid the third one so that PTA and Silver Bolts don't proc. Now with that trade combo dealt with, Vayne's only got 2 other major threats. Condemn, which can, you can just deal with by making sure to position away from walls, and then also her ultimate. Vayne with ultimate is really scary as the movement speed, the stealth, and the reduced QCD means that she can outduel almost any champion, literally. Could just let my cat take over at that point in time and she would win 1v1 with Vayne ultimate up, I'm almost certain. Knowing this, Vayne players will often camp rushes or all in you the second you even remotely go near a wall, so just play cautious while her ultimate is up during the laning phase, as she will feed during teamfights if not overly fed to make up for her lack of mechanics. Some quick tips versus her are be careful of her flash condemning you, as they will often try this tactic to style on you. But more importantly, when trying to land skill shots on a Vayne, it can be difficult, but remember this one quick tip. She will always dodge towards you looking to outplay. So keep this in mind, because if you dodged away as a Vayne player, her auto range is so short she won't be able to continue the fight. So every single Vayne player ever dodges towards you. And finally, we have the bird girl Xayah, who is an expert at self-peeling, as she is a strong independent AD carry who don't need no recon. In lane, Xayah will look to tag you with Q to proc her feathers and lethal tempo, if that's still in the game by the time you're watching this. You can avoid this poke by just standing outside the minion wave. It's kind of nice to do, but what you really need to focus on is where the feathers are landing, because she's gonna use her E to try and poke you down with them, and sometimes if you happen to get hit by 3 or more, you're gonna get rooted and she is gonna all in you. Honestly, that's the most important thing about playing against Xayah. It's just keeping track of where the feathers are so that you don't get hit by E. If you don't get hit by E, you're not gonna die. Knowing this, Xayah players do have some tricks up their sleeve, and one of them is using ultimate and then E, as it really can't be missed. It's very similar to the RE no skill combo that Syndra has. The other is using E and then flashing to redirect the feathers to make them all land, even when they're scattered around, which is kind of hard to keep track of because feathers last 6 seconds, which is deceptively long. You can avoid this trick though by looking to fight when E is on CD. It's 12 seconds early on, but avoiding the flash E combo is a lot harder. But personally, I played enough against that champion to tell you that if they can E flash to try and kill you, they're probably going to do it, so you should flash too. It's almost a guarantee actually. Your main opening when playing against Xayah will be when her ultimate is down. I know it seems kind of obvious, but it's a super long CD at 160 seconds to rank 1, meaning that if you just finish fighting and you traded ultimates, your ultimate will likely be up before hers, so all in immediately. That's it, folks. So thanks everyone for watching our series on how to beat every single League character. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it, you have any improvements for it, and what role or champions you would like for us to do next. Make sure to check out other content on this YouTube channel as well as at mobalytics.gg.